everyone. Welcome back to the Kirkpatrick Podcast. It is Vanessa. So a lot of organizations say they want a culture of evaluation. They talk about it in meetings. They put it in strategy decks. They come chat with me about it. They invest in tools, dashboards, training. Then they treat it like it's going to happen naturally. Like as if giving people the right tools, just training them on the process, encouraging them to evaluate is going to make it stick. I'm here to tell you that it definitely won't. Because culture is not built on intention. It's built on expectation. And that's where most organizations get this wrong. They think if people care enough, if they understand enough, if they're encouraged enough, then evaluation will become part of how they work. But it doesn't. Because without clear expectations, people default to what's easiest. And what's easiest is checking a box, sending a survey, reporting a number. Not actually evaluating in a way that improves performance. A culture of evaluation only exists when these three things are true. People know what's expected of them, how to do it, and that it's not optional. Let me say that again. A culture of evaluation only exists when people know what's expected, how to do it, and that it's not optional. Because if evaluation is optional, it will always be inconsistent. You'll have some people doing it well, some people trying, and a lot of people not doing it at all. And then leadership looks around and says, why isn't this working? It's not working because it was never defined as an expectation. It was introduced as an idea. So what does this look like in practice? Because shared expectations, I know, sounds nice, but most organizations don't know how to operationalize it. Let's break it down into 3 levels. First things first, leadership expectations. In organizations with strong evaluation cultures, leaders expect data before decisions. Not opinions, not assumptions, not I think it worked. They expect to know what changed, what didn't, and why. And they're not satisfied with completion rates or satisfaction scores. They're looking for behavior change. They're asking what's actually improved because of this. And that expectation alone changes how teams operate. Because people respond to what leaders ask. The second is team expectations. At the team level, evaluation is not something that happens at the end. It's a part of how work gets done. Teams are expected to define success up front. Before anything is built, they're asking, what are we trying to change? How will we know if it worked? And after something is delivered, they're expected to evaluate it, not just report it, evaluate it, which means looking at multiple data points, understanding what happened, and making decisions based on that. And that's a completely different level of ownership. And third, organizational expectations. At the organizational level, this is where things either come together or fall apart. Because this is where shared expectations actually have to be shared. Across the organization, the same language is used, the same standards are applied, the same approach is followed. So that when someone on one team talks about results, it means the same thing as it does on another team. This is where most organizations break. Without this, everything becomes fragmented. So let's talk about what happens when shared expectations don't exist. Because this is where most organizations actually are. Without shared expectations, everyone evaluates differently. One team uses surveys, another uses completion rates, another looks at performance data, others how they feel, their gut. None of it connects. The data becomes inconsistent. You can't compare across teams. You can't see patterns, and you can't make enterprise-level decisions. And eventually, leadership starts to lose trust in that data because it just doesn't tell a clear story. It doesn't align. It doesn't feel reliable. And this is when organizations say, we're doing evaluation, but it's not working. And the truth is, it's not that it's not working, it's that it's not aligned. Because evaluation is happening, but it's happening in isolation. Without shared expectations, you don't have a culture. You have pockets of effort. And this is the moment where things start to click. This is where organizations realize this can't live on one team. It can't depend on a few individuals who care about it. It can't rely on someone championing it. Because as soon as that person leaves, it falls apart. A culture of evaluation requires structure. It requires governance, defined roles, shared standards. Because culture doesn't scale without structure. Again, culture does not scale without structure. If you want consistency, you have to design for it. So if you're listening to this and thinking, we don't have consistency, we don't have alignment, this feels different across teams, you are not alone, my friend. That's exactly where most organizations are and why we built the learning impact maturity assessment. Because it helps you to see where you are today, where the gaps are, and what it actually takes to move forward. And from that, you can jump on a call with us for a 90-day roadmap, not just for insight, but for direction. So you can start building this the right way. At the end of the day, a culture of evaluation doesn't happen because people care. It doesn't happen because people are trained. It doesn't happen because you introduced a tool. It happens because expectations are clear, and when expectations are clear, behavior follows. Friends, please make sure you pick up a copy of the new book, Building a Culture of Evaluation, the new Kirkpatrick Model for Performance and Innovation. Cannot wait for you all to grab it, read it, share your aha moments, share your insights, share your feedback. Grab it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, wherever you grab your books. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you all on the next episode. Bye.